seems like every time, whether it's Vanderbilt once, Josh Freeman 0 for 9, and Danny O'Brien 1 of 2, that you throw for 40 passes or more, you lose. Is there a correlation there? Why does that happen?
I didn't know. I didn't know that. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'd have to kind of do my own research to say that. I think in the first game, didn't we against Central Florida throw for?
No, I'm saying before you got here. Hack is kind of an outlier. But your history every other place is 40 yards is kind of like a benchmark that you're not going to win. And Christian is the outlier.
Good, I like Christian. Let's keep using Christian. I don't know, I haven't studied that. Like a lot of things, there's I think a lot of things that factor into it. You know, the amount of time that we've been places, you know, the programs we've taken over, those types of things, situations. So it's hard for me to answer the question because I haven't studied that, but I'm glad Christian's on the positive note of it.
James, there's a lot of talk today about your testimony. I'm wondering is that something that you had to address your current team about, and can you tell us anything that you might have told them about it?
I addressed it earlier this summer. I brought it up again briefly earlier today with him in the meeting, but that's really it. I've told him if anybody has any questions or things, I got no problem discussing it with him as much as I possibly can. But you know, I've been upfront with him from the beginning about that.
Is that the end? Do you anticipate having to do that again, or is that pretty much, you know, put it in the past?
I'm not sure. It's an ongoing case, and I've cooperated from day one, and will continue to cooperate. You know, our concern is for the victim in this case.
James, a couple of guys talked about having a little more pop in their step. Have you seen that in the last couple of days, the benefits of the bye week?
I think the bye week has helped. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it's helped, especially where our numbers are at. But I don't know if I've distinctly noticed something out here on the field, per se.
What have you noticed after 2 days, or a bye week, and then get back on the field here? What kind of things have you noticed from your team coming out of the bye week?
Well, I think, you know, I think obviously because of how we went into the bye week, I think it kind of hits home with a little bit, guys, in terms of things that we've been trying to correct, the details, the footwork, eliminate some of the missed assignments, things that we can control. I think I see a little bit more of a sense of urgency to try to get those things fixed. But, you know, again, it's not major things. You know, when you get the injury report from Tim Bream, it's a little bit smaller than it was the couple weeks before that. But, you know, for the most part, I think it was good for them to get home and see their families or get some time off for all of us. And now excited to get back out there on the field and play against Michigan.
It was a little quieter in there than I'm used to when coming here on Wednesdays. Was there something behind that? You guys do that earlier in practice, or is that something you skipped today?
No, goal line I think was pretty much what you guys saw. Was the goal line period. We don't really necessarily do it for goal line period because everybody's kind of packed in there together, but we had it for every other team period, and our half-line Skelly, Penn State versus Penn State. But no, I think it was cranking pretty good. I got a headache right now.
Coach, the situation at Sayersville High School in New Jersey, do you have any recruit center that you are recruiting, and if you are, like, how are you monitoring that situation?
Yeah, we do have a young man that's committed to us from that school. You know, you guys know just as much as we do at this point. You know, we're waiting to hear.
What are some of the biggest focuses for you guys this week in terms of not just the crowd noise, but everything else going into Michigan that you maybe focus on later in the week instead of installing and whatnot that you may have done over the first 2 days? What will Thursday and Friday's focus be?
A normal Thursday and Friday where we're trying to refine and fine-tune third down and red zone, get another few reps at goal line and things like that. Our special teams work, but it's our normal weekly schedule. The bye week doesn't really kind of affect how we do things. Obviously Thursdays are a little bit shorter of a practice. Fridays is our typical walkthroughs and our travel dates and all those days and all those types of things. With it being a night game, we'll do some. We've added a new element here where we do a regeneration for night games on Saturday, where they go through a stretching station and things like that. to try to help get their legs back as quick as we possibly can, to help flexibility.
Did you do that? When did you start doing that? Just this week?
We just started that here at Penn State. With night games, mainly with night games. It's something we would do during camp. It's something that we would do during the season. During camp and kind of throughout the season on Sundays. But it's something that we've added on the night games. It helps fill up time, and the players really like it, kind of getting them loose and getting their bodies to feel the way they want them to feel.
We talked about CJ and Anthony, of course, with them going home, but obviously Brad Bars and the family ties there. What do you remember? Because I know you recruited both of his younger brothers. What do you remember about that process? Yeah, recruited the whole Bars family, and as you can see, was not very successful. Got stiff-armed by all of them. Great family, really good family. I'm still close with mom and dad. Dad comes out here to practice fairly often. Dad played at Notre Dame, brother at Notre Dame, brother at Michigan, brother at Penn State. I've tried to convince them to have a few more children because they got this thing figured out. It would help us with recruiting. But they're just really good people, and they've had a lot of success in college athletics. Brad's been an unbelievable leader for us and our team, with him getting hurt last year and sitting out the year. He's got a maturity to him that I think has been really important for our team, and his approach to practice and everything else. And I think just the fact that he comes from a football family, he's got some pretty good perspectives.
I feel like people maybe don't always appreciate the value of a good nutrition program within a program. I mean, how important is this thing that got announced last week, the $500,000 to $750,000, towards the whole nutrition aspect of what you guys are trying to do? Well,
I think you guys all know it was a big conversation point this summer with some of the modifications to the meals that we're able to provide student athletes at the Division I level, and we were doing as much study as anybody in the country, the administration, in what makes sense for Penn State. So we're excited about it. There's been slight modifications for us. The thing I'm probably as excited about as anything, I think it has probably an even greater impact on the other sports as well. So I think it's a good deal, and we're excited about it. Our strength staff is involved. We have full-time nutritionists that work with the athletic department, as well as our training staff, and kind of everybody has had input, as well as going out and studying best practice, what other people are doing as well.
It seems like these guys are most excited about all the free snacks that they get. Can you kind of relate to wishing that you had gotten free snacks?
Yeah, I enjoy the free snacks right now, to be honest with you. I think it's great for those guys. They come over to the training room. They're getting treatment on their way to class. They can grab a bar and things like that. The thing I think you have to be careful of is the snacks shouldn't replace meals. And I think, as you guys know, college students in general, they value their sleep and all those types of things. And you have to make sure they're still getting up and having breakfast and going to lunch and dinner. And these are just supplementals, supplemental to their actual meals. And that's, we've got to make sure still happening.
How have your O-linemen kind of held up from a confidence standpoint? Because they've had some struggles, and there's been some criticism. You say you read everything. How have they kind of dealt with that?
I think they've handled it pretty well. I really do. I think, I think what happens on most football teams is there's always noise outside, but you try to limit the noise. And I think what really matters is how we interact with one another in meetings and things like that. They know how we feel about them. I know how hard they're working and what they're putting into this as well. They want to play as well as anybody else, and I do see them getting better. Is it as fast as we would all like? Probably not, but you can say that about a lot of positions. So, we're just going to stay positive and keep grinding and keep working and keep supporting them, and find ways to get the ball in the end zone.
Okay, two more. Will you be on the road recruiting again this weekend before you guys head up to Michigan?
We'll have a few guys out. It's pretty much basically, the way the new rules are, you have a certain amount of days on the road, and you can divide them up however you want. So basically we have 9 assistants, and based on their high school recruits that they're recruiting in certain areas, they divvy up their days however they see best. That works out with our schedule as well as their prospect schedules. Last week we had a bye week. There was a number of recruits that we would have liked to go see, but they had a bye week the same week. So all those things kind of factor into it.
Big Ten announced today that its institutions will allow scholarships for the duration of the enrollment. Is that going to change that much for you guys? Do you anticipate that changing much? Scholarship?
First of all, I mean, obviously we're always supportive of anything when it comes to education, allowing these guys to graduate.
our job is to make sure that they graduate here before their eligibility's up. You know, hopefully in 3.5 years is our plan. Penn State's got a long history of having great academic rates, and we want to continue to do that. The sanctions that we've gone through have had a little bit of effect on that, and that will show up for us. But you know, anything that comes back to these guys graduating and getting their degrees, you know, Penn State, myself, the administration is unbelievably supportive of. So I think it's great.
That's good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.